the jibber jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Zero Dark 30. It busted out of the bunker, heading out into the darkness, and man, we got kind of an interesting topic here. This one is comical and also frightening. Where do we start? Spy versus SHTF. Tampon Tim Walls. One of his nicknames, and my favorite, of course, was Twinkle Toes. Because he was a twinkle-toed mofo. Tim Walls, governor of Minnesota. Well, that guy that killed the Speaker of the House in Minnesota, tried killing two other people, wearing a mask, doing some dirty deeds, folks. He's claiming he works for the government and does wet work. That's right, folks. He has now done a handwritten letter, sent it to Kash Patel. He wants protection for his family. He wants to be sent to a military prison in the Middle East, or perhaps on a ship somewhere, because he believes that the military will do a better job of protecting him than the regular prison system. He hinted that their tentacles are everywhere, right? They'll reach out and grab him. You know, he was supposed to kill Senator Amy Klobuchar. He didn't get there. The question is this guy nuts? Or is this guy telling the truth? So let's just pretend like I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. This guy says he was trained by the military, off the books. Right? Right? So no one knows about him. He was trained as some sort of special operator. Now, this guy watched too many Steven Seagal movies, and he believes this stuff. Or is he telling the truth? Says he's done work around the world, you know, for the government and their little special stuff. Is he lying or telling the truth? Well, we kind of have to ask ourselves some other questions, right? This guy writing a letter doesn't prove anything. It doesn't. But what do we know about the FBI? What do we know about the CIA? Well, they do train people off the books, and they train groups of people off the books. A really great example of that is Operation Mongoose, a CIA operation. And they had a group that was training off the books for an invasion of Cuba. And there was a civilian in there. So the idea of this guy being someone who worked for Tim Walls, you know, as a civilian, but with military training, isn't completely unheard of if David Ferry can be a military intelligence operative. And don't let them fool you. Just because it says military intelligence doesn't mean they're necessarily intelligent. And it could be that someone like this guy, who Tim Walls kept very close to him, and in fact, the handwritten confession letter stated, you know, he's like, yeah, he hired me, he put me in these positions, he kept me close, right? So this sounds like in a lot of ways, sounds like a possible spook that was kept around, right? Everyone has a shadow, and if you fuck up, your shadow will get you. I'm sure a lot of these mid and upper level people. They're not high, they're just upper. If they have important roles to play, I'm sure they have shadows. In any event, this nutcase can do both his job and be a nutcase. I mean, look at every patsy we've ever heard of. And, the biggest one, of course, being Lee Harvey Oswald. He was a CIA stooge. There were FBI connections. Right? He did some incredibly unusual, weird stuff that should have never happened, and like going to Russia, defecting there, then defecting back, and bringing his wife from Russia, and then he couldn't get a job. Was involved in pro-Cuban and anti-Cuban crap, and then gets framed for the JFK assassination. Lee Harvey Oswald is in America, right? He's in New Orleans. He's in Mexico. You know, he's all over the place, and just like, so these people can be operatives working for the intelligence services, with and without, within and without also military service, or even being on the books. Right? How can the government deny that you work for them if they, tattoo the uniform on your face and your rank and insignia? No, they keep you off the books. So this guy could have been it. Now, again, we've got the jackass Root down there in Florida that was supposed to shoot the president. And then you had Crooks. You have a bunch of other operatives out there. I don't know, Adam Lanza, for example, certainly appeared to be a mind-numbed, mind-controlled idiot. But are they necessarily always that? David Hogg says he was a high school student, even though there was information to show that he was in his early to mid-20s when the Parkland shooting in Florida took place. And he's been an operative ever since for the Democrat Party. Certainly not very intelligent, but could he have been an asset for military intelligence? The answer is yes, 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 and yes. How would you know? Because they work under an assumed name, title, just like Lee Harvey Oswald did. And he was a Marine, supposedly a bad one, but somehow they chose him to go to Russia, defect, and try to work over there. Again, just an odd duck, an odd case. Someone who appeared to be psychotic. Lee Harvey Oswald couldn't have normal relationships with work, with his wife, with his family, with anybody. Because when they get into your head, they take a fucking egg beater and they scramble up your brains. We, as the American people, have talked about MK Ultra and other mind control techniques that the government has used, from just psychological torture to drugs, drug-induced states, to mind wiping. It's incredible what they can do to a human being. And can that person, right, become anything the government needs for them? It's some strange shit, folks. So this guy, Tampon Timmy's boy, right, he could be exactly what he says he is, right? Someone who works for the government. Right? His cheese slipped off its cracker, or Tim talked him into it. He could have been put out there just to cause mayhem, and he wasn't supposed to live. He got caught. Normally, they kill their patsies, so they don't talk about shit like this. Right? Normally, that's what happens. There's always the FBI was in contact with him. I heard about him. It's always, yeah, well, he was on our radar. They won't admit the truth. Fuck, they can't get the truth out of anybody, anywhere in government. So this could be true. This could be an example. And that could be why Tim Walz has disappeared out of the news. Absolutely disappeared. Because this guy just might be the real deal. Might be a nutcase, lunatic agent for the government that went fucking rogue on him. Remember Tampon Tim? Remember him? He claimed to be a battalion sergeant major over in a war zone when he truly wasn't. He lied. And he still hasn't gotten in trouble for stolen valor. So he could have claimed to be all kinds of military hot shit with this fucking clown who was a government op, right? He could have been a spook. He could have been a failed spook, folks, for all we know. They could have thrown his dumb ass out and he wanted to keep living it because they fuck with your head. Could have been. Maybe we'll find out a little more, but don't expect the full story to come out. I don't expect anything out of these people anymore, except more lies. Hey, chance favors the prepared mind is yours.